Both players start with d4 e5, which is the most common and classical opening in chess, known as the double king's pawn opening. This move establishes control over the center and allows for the development of knights and bishops. Knight f3, knight c6. The knights are developed to their most natural squares, attacking the center and preparing for further development. Bishop c4, bishop c5. This move signifies the beginning of the Italian game, classic opening that aims to control the center and develop pieces harmoniously. The bishops on c4 and c5 exert influence on the f7 square, which is often a focal point in early attacks. c3, knight f6. Both sides continue with principled development. White supports the d4 pawn and prepares for central expansion, while black develops the knight to a central square, also putting pressure on white's pawn on e4. d4, x4. Black accepts the pawn on d4, resulting in an open center. This pawn capture leads to an imbalanced pawn structure, creating tension in the position. cx d4, bishop b4 plus. Black pins white's knight on f3 to the king on e1, which can be a useful tactical resource later in the game. White must now decide how to respond to this pin. Knight c3, d5. Black breaks the pin and challenges white's central pawn on d4. This move also opens lines of development for the queen and bishop on c8. x5, knight x d5. Black captures the pawn on d5, which leads to white having double pawns on the d-file. This can create potential weaknesses for white's structure. Castling, b6. White castles kingside to ensure the safety of the king, while black develops the bishop to e6, preparing for kingside castling. Knight g5, knight xc3. Black makes a tactical move, capturing the knight on c3 and exploiting the pin on the f3 knight. This move creates an immediate threat to white's queen on b7. bxc3, bishop a4. Black captures the pawn on c3, rook e1 plus, bishop e7. Black's king moves to e7, escaping the checks, while white's rook on e1 targets the vulnerable e7 bishop. Bishop a3, castling. Black castles kingside to ensure the king's safety, while white's bishop on a3 eyes the f8 square, potentially creating threats. Bishop xe7, knight xe7. Black recaptures the bishop, gaining material while maintaining a strong position with centralized knights. Queen b1, g6. Black plays g6, weakening the dark squares around the king and defending against potential threats on the f7 square. Queen xb7, knight d5. Black pins white's knight on d5, putting pressure on the pinned piece and threatening material gains. Knight e4, f5. Black continues to play aggressively, opening lines for the rook and aiming to challenge white's central knight on e4. Knight c5, knight xc3. A daring move by black. This move intensifies the pressure on white's position. Queen b4, queen xd4. Black's queen captures the pawn on d4, revealing an attack on white's vulnerable king. Knight e6, c5. An excellent move by black, deflecting white's queen from the defense of f2 and creating threats against the white king. Queen b7, bishop xe6. Black regains material while simplifying the position, maintaining a significant material advantage. Rook xe6, knight e4. Black's knight on e4 becomes a powerful attacking piece, putting pressure on white's position and eyeing key squares. Rook f1, rook a b8. Black's rook penetrates white's position, targeting the vulnerable b1 square and exerting pressure on the entire second rank. Queen xa7, rook b1. A brilliant move by black, sacrificing the rook to create a mating threat on the back rank. This move represents the climax of black's attacking prowess. Rook xb1, knight xf2. Black continues the relentless attack by bringing another knight into the game. King f1, knight g4. Black's knight on g4 is excellently placed, intensifying the attack and controlling critical squares around the white king. King e2, rook d8. Black's rook on d8 joins the attack, preparing to deliver checkmate. Rook e8 plus, rook xe8 plus. White's desperate attempt to avoid immediate checkmate leads to a sequence of exchanges that ultimately favors black. King f3, Queen f2 hash. A stunning checkmate on the f2 square, exploiting the exposed white king and the vulnerability of the back rank. Black's coordinated attack and sacrifices have culminated in a brilliant and decisive victory.